woke up this morning, there was one comment on it, and it just said, "Doesn't look complicated at all, idiot."
Hello, welcome to episode 14. 14. Nearly got caught out there. 14 of Pod 'em Up. I'm Ollie.
I'm Tibbs.
Hello, Tibbs.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Pretty hot.
Yeah.
Hot day.
Yeah. It's really it's a very small room. It's very very warm in here.
So we've got a slightly busy show, I would say. We've got our book club pick, which was this month was Sin and Punishment, Successor of the Skies, for the Wii, which we're going to talk about in a bit. We've got E3 that's happened. That was a thing that we could talk about. And then we've got a little new feature that I sprung on you the other day that I thought might be a nice little thing. We'll talk more about that later, but it's sort of we talk a lot about past games and stuff. This is this little feature dedicated to sort of future games, and particularly with an indie focus, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll work out. But that's to come. So since the last episode, what have you been up to, mate?
I bought Sonic Team Racing. Is that what it's called? Team Sonic Racing.
Yeah, not to be confused with Crash Team Racing.
Yeah, that's probably where the confusion is.
That might be why they switched the names around, I expect.
Yeah. I didn't get on with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, right, okay.
It was okay.
Yeah.
But it just didn't really hold my attention. I think I got a bit confused with the wisps. Like I didn't know what they were. Like I never got the hang of whether a purple wisp was what weapon it was, or a pink wisp was this or that or the other, and it just wasn't really. It didn't really feel very clear.
No, it doesn't.
It's not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but it felt like a bit of a step back from Sega and All Stars Racing Transformed.
Yeah,
which I think was,
all these titles are so they can't pick a good title for any of these games.
Personally, but
I know. Yes, I know what you mean. The Wisps thing it's a bit sort of arbitrary, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I can see what they've done because the Wisps are a thing in Sonic already.
Yeah. I totally get where they were going with it, but it's kind of I think they could have made it a bit. I don't know, just like the icons or something to make it really clear when you pick up a wisp. Okay, I know what this is. I know what weapon I've got here. Because it seemed a bit random to me, but.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And there's so many of them as well. Even sort of late on into the main campaign, I was occasionally finding a wisp that I'd never even had before. So there was an issue there, definitely.
Yeah.
How did you find the team mechanic in general?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I don't know if we've talked about the game about this game before, or if we mentioned it last time we brought up Sonic Racing, Sonic Team Sonic the racing game.
That one, yeah.
The Trailblazers.
Oh yeah.
It's. I think it's definitely taken some cues from Trailblazers. If you haven't played it, Trailblazers is kind of like just it's a team racing game, where it's basically a cross between Splatoon and a racing game. So every team has a colour, and you can paint the ground behind you as you go. And if you are in a lane that's been painted with your team's colour, you get a speed boost, and that's kind of what the slipstreaming thing is with Team Sonic Racing. I think there's definitely been some influence there. And I like the way you can swap weapons with each other. You can like send weapons to another member of the team, or you can request a weapon if you haven't got one. I think that's pretty cool. I felt like the ultimate team move thing, where you sort of build it up and you can unleash this big move. That felt a little bit overpowered, maybe.
Yes, it can totally influence the balance of the whole race, and basically it all comes down to getting team moves, which is kind of valid, because it builds up. When you do these team things like passing power-ups and stuff, you get more of this. You add more to this team boost counter thing, and when you get enough, you get the team boost, and you go flying off. So it becomes all about that, really. And it was it was a focus to a thing to do, rather than just race forward. It was a mechanic that meant that you had to do this team stuff a lot.
Yeah.
But I see see your point is kind of annoying when the whole team just whooshes right past you.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a bad game at all. It's really not a bad game, but I just think it's just not up to the standard set by the other ones in the series. No. I think I would, because I really, really liked Racing Transformed. I just spent so much time on that game, and it's one that I go back to regularly as well. It's just a really good pick up and play. I love the inventiveness of the tracks and all the different characters, and it's just a really nice little game. And I think I can see why they've focused solely on Sonic characters. I can see why they've maybe wanted to just put the focus back on Sonic, but I don't know. It was okay. But
I think that's the view that most people echo, and I'd echo it as well for the most part. It's a fun game in itself, but it's not as good as the previous ones.
No. I did get Crash Team Racing as well.
Yes, I saw you tweet that. How's that? I haven't looked into much about how that's been received. What did you think of that?
It's great. It's a really nice sort of remaster of the original game. It's up to the same standard as the Crash Bandicoot trilogy remaster and the Spyro the Dragon remaster. It's had the same sort of level of sort of love and care, and the way it's been enhanced. It's exactly what you would want from a Crash Team Racing remaster. The issue I would have with it is the same that I had with the original game, in that the rubber banding AI is a little bit ridiculous at times. It alternates from being really, really unchallengingly too easy to just being brutally unfair, and there's not much middle ground there. But it's a great game. It's a really great game.
It looks really nice. I saw a little bit of gameplay. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. It really is. And it's got the whole sort of adventure mode in there, which Team Sonic Racing doesn't have. We've got like the hub area where you can unlock different things and different challenges to collect things, and that will unlock more levels and more characters and things. So it's a really, really nice little remaster, and it's not too expensive. I think it's like 25-30 quid. So
both games are sort of
really
sort of budget
priced
releases, aren't they?
And the final thing I got this month was Super Mario Maker 2.
Yeah, I just downloaded that last night.
Yeah.
I haven't spent enough time on it to have an opinion about it. I don't know if you have yet.
Not really. I've only played it, for an hour or so. Because it only came out, it came out yesterday, I think. Yeah, it was yesterday it came out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously I was at work all day, so I didn't pick it up till the evening, and then, I haven't put much time into it yet. But it's great. I mean, it's exactly what you'd want. It's more of the same. If you loved Mario Maker on the Wii U, then, it's more of the same. It's really good.
Yeah.
I would say the thing it highlights to me is what an underrated skill level design actually is.
Yes, absolutely. This is what. Yeah, I mean, I've said before on the podcast, I love level design.
Yeah.
This is a game that I really want to sink my teeth into. And yes, you're absolutely right. It's just it's really difficult. They make it look easy, but it's really difficult to design a good level and piece it all together and have it all make sort of sense,
Yeah.
So I can't wait to. I'm coming up with ideas in my head already that I hopefully can do it.
I did one level. I put the little one I put together. It was just a basic, really simple sort of left to right jumper of a few things and a couple of Goombas, but all around the main path, I just put loads of crap all over the place to make it look really complicated. And I uploaded it and I titled it "Not as Complicated as It Looks" or something like that.
Right. Okay.
And I left it, went to bed, woke up this morning. There was one comment on it from some American guy, and it just said, "Doesn't look complicated at all, idiot." I was like, oh, all right. Well, thanks.
Well, that's you shot there. Yeah, that's your level design career over. Yeah.
That's my career in level design. That's a nail put in that coffin.
Idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him. Yeah.
What about you? What have you been playing?
I've been playing Dangerous Driving. That's
you got it.
Yeah. It's the Burnout spiritual successor.
Yeah.
We talked about it briefly before, I think, when we were talking about Burnout.
I don't want to go off topic, but I didn't buy Dangerous Driving, but I did buy Dangerous Golf, which is made by the same developers.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Is that Burnout for golf? Is that? Or?
Basically, yeah, kind of. It's just like big fancy rooms, like a fancy restaurant or like a stately home, and you just knock a golf ball about and see how much damage you can cause. So,
that sounds quite cool.
It's quite cool. But yeah. So what's it like?
It's good, yeah. I mean, it's basically Burnout 4, essentially, by another name. It doesn't seem to have the crash mode in it.
Oh, really?
No. Well, at least I haven't played loads and loads of it. I've done like you've got like groups of challenges. I've done the first group, and I'm in the second one, and I can't see a crash mode in either of those. So, and I would have thought it would appear by now. So I don't know why.
No, that's a bit disappointing. Because that's like the trademark of the series.
It is, yeah. I mean, I may be wrong. Maybe it's in there. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it. But other than that, it's really good fun. I got it on PC, and yeah, it's just there's not much you can say about it really because it is Burnout. Yeah. It doesn't come with its own soundtrack. It seems it has like a one piece of music that it plays at the start, and then the rest of it's in silence. And it encourages you to use Spotify to supply your own soundtrack, basically.
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea actually, because I think the soundtrack. I mean, we talked previously. My experience with Burnout is mainly centered around Burnout 3 because that seems to be the one that I got on best with.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack is a really sort of integral part to that. But obviously, being an indie game, there's no way they could afford the licenses and stuff involved. Yeah. So that's like a really clever way of skirting around that.
It's a good compromise. I mean, you're basically you do have to just open Spotify in the background, and then if you've got the premium, you can use the D-pad to change the song whenever you want, that kind of thing. So it's not like it's like in there as much as I thought it would be. It's just sort of running. Spotify's running. You can run anything in the background really if you want. But yeah, it's quite cool. You can get there's like a Burnout 3 playlist on Spotify that you can put on there, and I've just put a little playlist together. And it works really well. It reminds me of the Burnout 3, the original on the Xbox original because.
The custom soundtracks.
The custom soundtrack, yeah, it was a unique feature for the console at the time where you could rip your own discs to the machine, and you could certain games you would be allowed to put your own soundtrack in, which was really cool.
I remember that being like a really big deal, and it's hardly any games have used that like recently. That's a feature that just seems to have sort of disappeared.
I think it's still around. Technically, you can still do it on PS4.
I think you can with I think certain games. I think Wipeout can do it, but I don't know many games that do.
No, I don't know if it's. I kind of assumed it was something you could do for all of them, but maybe not.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you might just be able to have just running like similar to like you were saying with Spotify, just have something running continuously in the background. You might be able to do that. But,
I think on the 360 you could as well.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. So it's still there, but it's nothing. It's something that no one talks about anymore, really, is it?
Yeah, it's surprising because I think it'd be it's a good feature. I think
it is. Yeah,
have that, really.
Yeah, because I played. I booted up my original Xbox was about a year or so ago. I put in Burnout 3, and I'd completely forgotten that the soundtrack that I left on there last time was this. WWE used to do like the WWE the music stuff. I had one of those on there, so I booted it up, and I think it was Mr. Ass's theme came on, which, if you remember, is the most ridiculous lyrics to a piece of music I've ever heard in my life. But that was great. Yeah, it's a great song. Yeah, so that was just that little memory. It just came. So elsewhere, I've been doing a lot on the PC lately. I've been for a while. I've been meaning to set up this home streaming idea where I'm basically streaming my game from the PC upstairs to the Pi downstairs.
Oh, you're doing it to the Pi, okay.
I'm doing it to the Pi, and I've got these power line adapters rather than running big Ethernet cables everywhere. And they seem to work pretty well.
Yeah, they're pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I've got I wanted a Recal box, which is what I use for my Pi mainly. It does have Moonlight on it, which links up with NVIDIA, I think.
Yeah.
But it's not working at the moment in the current version. They're supposed to be updating in the next version, but it's not currently there. So I'm using the Steam Link. You can put Steam Link on the Pi. It seems to work pretty well. There's a little bit of latency. It's probably not that bothersome for most games, but it's the kind of thing that once you notice is there, is just a bit kind of annoying, and a little bit of stuttering. So it's not completely perfect, but I don't know. I'm going to tinker with it, and hopefully the Moonlight thing might work a little bit better.
I've never used Moonlight, but I have used the Steam Link before, and I had much the same experience with you. I was doing it over Wi-Fi though, so I put it down to just being sort of a bit flaky on the Wi-Fi. But
I tried it previously on the Wi-Fi, and this is a lot better than the Wi-Fi. And it's pretty good. I want to be able to sort of run emulations and stuff, and just beam them to the Pi for things that the Pi itself can't handle.
Yeah.
And Steam games as well. So yeah, it's something to keep tinkering with.
Are you going to be upgrading to the new Pi?
Yes, the Pi 4. Yeah, I saw that.
Looks really nice.
Yeah, it does look really nice. Yeah. I think I'd need a new case. I've got one of those nice. Is it Retro Flag? The SNES case.
Yeah. I've got the NES case on mine. Yeah.
Have you? Yeah. They're really nice products.
Yeah, the new Game Boy one looks really nice as well. Yeah, it's like $100 or something.
Yeah, understandably, it comes with a screen and everything. I guess so it's
it comes all in one kit, does that?
I'd imagine so. I imagine it comes with the screen.
Oh, totally.
Because the others don't need a screen, obviously.
No.
So, yeah. So yeah, been doing that. That's been like a goal for quite a while to sort of try and get that working. So yeah, I'm onto that. But I'm also giving my PC a big upgrade. I've been wanting to upgrade the CPU for quite a while.
Oh, cool.
So I've got that, but that involves a load of other things. It's not just a case of putting it in. Unfortunately, I needed a new motherboard. I needed a new type of RAM. I needed a new CPU fan. I've thrown in another hard drive in there. So I'm currently in the process of gutting out my PC.
So it's basically just a rebuild rather than an upgrade.
It's almost entirely a new PC now at this point. What started with a simple one component upgrade has spiraled out of control a bit. But yeah, I've just before this podcast, actually, I was trying to I've taken the old motherboard out and putting the new one in with I've already done the CPU. So it's all new to me though. I've never really been a PC kind of internals guy. I've learned a hell of a lot this last month about it. So I'm hoping it won't just explode as soon as I turn. I have this nightmare vision that it's just going to collapse completely as soon as I start.
Nah, it'll be fine.
Start it, yeah, hopefully.
It's good fun though, isn't there?
It is. It's really good.
There's a lot of satisfaction in building it yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's something I've always been a bit wary of, but once, getting into it is it's really good fun. Yeah. Just trying to think. That's kind of the main things I've been doing this month, really.
Did you play Deltarune?
Oh yeah, I did a bit. I did. Yeah, sorry, I completely forgot about that. I haven't completed it yet. I completed the thing. I played about 45 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
It is very good, isn't it?
Yeah, very interesting. I don't quite know where they're going to go with it.
No. What do you think of the battle system? An improvement or?
That's kind of the bit I've got to, like the first time you have a battle, I think, or just after that, I think. It's kind of, You had 2 characters at the time, didn't you?
Yeah.
You switched between. It was a couple of weeks ago now. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, cool. Okay, yeah. Well, we'll wait till you finish it properly, and then we'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, it's got a few interesting kind of twists. Like graphically, it looks a bit more kind of advanced, doesn't it? And that whole thing at the beginning where you pick, it asks you to pick your character and then just completely discards it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, great. I love it.
Right. Shall we move on to E3?
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah. Okay. So, I don't know how to. It's E3 is E3. You know, it doesn't really need an introduction, does it?
Not really. No. I mean, it's the big show of the year, isn't it? Well, I mean, it used to be. Sony didn't even turn up to this one.
They didn't bother. No, they had a little thing beforehand, didn't they? They had like a little movie with some stuff in it a couple of weeks before, didn't they? Anything jump out at you this year?
It's hard to remember now. Before we started the show, I was gonna Google like a little recap of the list. I remember coming away thinking that Nintendo and Devolver Digital had the best stuff to show. I wasn't really impressed by anything Microsoft put out that I can think of.
No, I mean they sort of announced their new console, didn't they?
Well, kind of.
Ish.
I mean, they haven't told us anything about it really.
No,
have they?
They're still a bit cagey, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't actually remember any of the details now, but I know I wasn't impressed.
And the thing is, I'm more interested in what games it's going to have.
Exactly, that's the main thing. I don't really care about it. It was like a solid state hard drive, wasn't it? So it's supposed to be lightning quick and all that, which is all nice.
It's all nice, but I mean, like I've got the original, like the Xbox One, like the fat original model that came out, not the S or the X.
Yeah.
If you gave me a check tomorrow and told me to go out and buy an Xbox One X with all its fancy extra power and everything, I'm not going to turn it on any more than I do the Xbox, because there's just nothing on it I want to play at the moment. It's just, you can have all the power in the world, but if it's not in the games to play.
I mean, this generation, the Xbox doesn't. I mean, I haven't looked intensely at the library that it's had, but it doesn't seem to have had many particular exclusives for it. Would you say that's a fair comment?
Yeah, definitely a fair comment. Yeah. There's a severe lack of exclusives, and I think there's just not enough variety of games. I mean, I love the Switch and the PS4 so much because you get really quirky, sort of not AAA, not indie, but kind of that middle ground where you get, and it's kind of like back in the PS1 days. And the N64 days, you would get these sort of publishers just churning out little odd quirky games.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Switch and the PS4 sort of reminds me of that. There's these games coming out that you won't find topping the charts or anything, but there's still these really neat little experiences. And the Xbox just doesn't have anything like that.
Yeah,
it's either all AAA blockbusters or nothing really.
Yeah, that's very much the they've gone for that sort of audience that only cares about that type of game.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? That's very much. I don't want to generalize, but that's very much the audience I associate with Xbox these days.
Yeah, you know, kind of the Call of Duty, online,
FIFA, that kind of thing. But.
There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not. It doesn't appeal to me. It's just not the games I'm interested in.
No, I mean, Xbox aside, this generation has been really good for those kind of games you just described.
Yeah,
better than sort of the previous couple of generations,
or
previous generation maybe. There's just so many of those little quirky things that people, because they're a little lower budget than a AAA release, they can really afford to just have a go at it, you know, and see what happens and make something.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, Trailblazers, a game like that, it's just a quirky little idea that someone's had, and they've put this game together and it's out there. You know, it's not going to break any sales records, but it's obviously a step up from someone working away in their bedroom on a game. But it's just kind of this sort of little. I don't know. There should be a term for it. It's not an indie game. It's not a AAA game. It's just, you know, there should be a term for it.
There isn't really a term, as far as I'm aware.
No.
But there's that middle ground that, Anyway, back to E3. So should we talk about Nintendo? Because they had a few things going on, didn't they?
Breath of the Wild sequel.
Breath of the Wild sequel. Very excited about that.
I don't think anyone expected that.
I certainly didn't. I mean, usually a Zelda takes about 5 years, 6 years to make. And it seems like this is more of a Breath of the Wild sequel. So it's not a whole new Zelda and set in a different kind of environment. They seem to be reusing that kind of world and those assets for a new story. And hopefully that means it comes here a bit quicker than a whole new Zelda would, which is really good. And I absolutely love Breath of the Wild. It's one of my favourite games ever. I had so much fun with it. So, yeah, I'm definitely excited about that. Definitely a day one purchase, no problem there.
Luigi's Mansion 3?
Yeah. I like the first one. That's the only one I've played.
That's the only one I've played as well.
I like that one. That's good.
Yeah.
I never completed it, but...
I got to the last boss.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
And I never completed it after that. I don't know why. I think it's because I got to the boss and I think I had a bit of a hard time with it, or I found it a bit frustrating. But I knew at that point I'd seen all the game had to offer. There wasn't going to be anything past that, so I just kind of moved on to something else. But I enjoyed my time with it while I played it. It's a really charming little game. So
I might. I don't know if I'll pick that one up day one, but I might get it eventually.
I don't know if it'll be a day one, but I'm interested in the co-op play. I think co-op play. I tend to prefer co-op rather than sort of competitive multiplayer. So that's something that appeals to me definitely. Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Remake of the Game Boy.
Yes, I have never played the original Game Boy one.
No.
But yeah, it looks good. It looks really nice.
It does. I like the art style. It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, there's some sort of dungeon creation thing there as well, which looks quite interesting.
Yeah. Big egg on a mountain,
Big egg on a mountain, yeah. One thing I saw amongst the sort of third-party games that jumped out for me personally was Panzer Dragoon.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like that series. Although I've never fully played the first one, except a little bit, but I played Zwei, or Zwei for Vic if you're listening, and Orta. Both enjoyed both of those. That looks really, really cool. And as we'll go into later, I really love my on rails shooter kind of games. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that one. I don't have much else on my Nintendo in my list actually.
They announced there's going to be a version of The Witcher 3. Never really got into The Witcher. Isn't really a series for me personally, but I know a lot of people will be sort of really into that, so that's cool. Saw a bit more about Pokemon Sword and Shield. A bit of drama about it's not going to have a full Pokedex, so you can't transfer all your previous Pokemons. It's only going to have the Pokedex will only cover the Pokemon for that particular region, whereas previous versions had the full Pokedex, so you could catch them all. Now you can only catch some.
It's not quite as good
a catch some of them.
Yeah.
Banjo-Kazooie being added to Smash Brothers.
Yeah, very cool. Love Banjo. So that was a nice surprise.
New Animal Crossing game coming at some point in the indeterminate future.
Have you played Animal Crossing before?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not as sort of into it as some. So, like, it's one of those games that people tend to be really, really passionate about and get really into. I don't mind it, but I'm not. I'm not going to rush out and buy it. I'll get it eventually.
Yeah, I haven't myself. My wife has. She played the one on the Wii a bit, and it's a nice little game. We found Tom Nook to be quite an amusing character. So he's become sort of an in-joke between us. She even bought me a Tom Nook amiibo once for my birthday, just as a little while. Yeah.
Collection of Mana.
Don't know anything about that.
It's the JRPG. I was gonna try and remember. I think it's called. I can't remember what it is called in Japan. It's a very famous series of RPGs, and it's going to be the first time the sequel. The first game was rebranded as Final Fantasy Adventure when it came over here.
Oh, right.
It's not really technically a Final Fantasy game. They just used the name to make it sell. and then they had a sequel, The Secret of Mana, and then they had the third game, The Trials of Mana. Trials of Mana has never been released outside of Japan before now. It's been one of these sort of things that's been on everyone's wish list, sort of JRPG fans, that it gets a Western release, and it's, up to this point it's never happened, so it's the first time that's actually getting released, so that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, nice.
So that'd be interesting. I'd like to give that a play.
Have you played the other ones, like Secret Mana? Is the SNES one, isn't it?
Yeah, so I played Secret of Mana because that was on the classic, the SNES classic.
Yeah.
But I haven't played Final Fantasy Adventure. I think they're similar to Final Fantasy in the sense that I think they're self-contained stories. I don't think you need to play one to play the next one to play the next one. So, but the fact that I think we mentioned on a previous show, I can't remember what episode it was, when we were talking about Octopath Traveler.
Oh yeah.
And how successful that had been, whether it would open the door to more classic JRPGs sort of being released in the West. Given that this is a Square Enix game as well, I'm wondering if that is going to be, if that's a sort of a result of the success of Octopath Traveler, which I think is getting a PC release as well now, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I saw that pop up. Yeah, the other day. That's interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if that's sort of woken up publishers to the fact that these games do have a market over here. So, moving on from Nintendo, was there anything else that caught your eye?
Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's still a thing.
It is still a thing. What's your thoughts on it?
I'm interested. They told us a bit more about the battle system, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's going to be like a hybrid kind of thing, or a bit like a sort of, it's got a real-time element, but you can also go through the menu and choose your attacks like in the original game. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's the impression I got.
Yeah, and you could if you don't want to do that, you can assign the attacks to like a shortcut button, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you still don't sound convinced by this game.
I'm not convinced by it. No. I got to be honest with you. I don't know. It might be because Final Fantasy VII is a game that means quite a bit to me. So maybe I'm a bit, a bit resistant to anyone messing with the formula.
Sure. Yeah.
But it just doesn't do anything for me. I don't. It's charmless a bit. I think it's a bit. I don't know. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna buy it. So there's no point me pretending that I won't.
Is it still episodic?
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they haven't said how many episodes it will be, or I think I heard this game will take you up to the point of in Final Fantasy VII where you first leave Midgar and go out onto the world map.
Okay.
So
it's a fairly sizable portion of it, as I recall. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a reasonable chunk of the game. But I mean, if you think of all the things that happen after you leave Midgar, this is going to be like 8 or 9 chapters.
That sounds about the right sort of percent. There's a hell of a lot that happens in that game.
Yeah.
And that's just only the first part, really, isn't it? So
yeah,
there's going to be. And are they going to do like a physical release version of each one, or is it kind of a download thing, or have they said anything about that?
I don't think anything like that's been announced. I don't know. Right. And they haven't even subtitled it like Final Fantasy VII Chapter 1.
Exactly. That's what I was wondering.
It's just I don't know if they're just rushing it out, to be honest, because I think they painted themselves into a corner a bit by announcing it when they didn't really have anything to show.
Yeah.
And
that was years ago, wasn't it? It was about 2015 or something?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
They've been silent about it for years.
And
years.
I was going to say there were rumours knocking about for years before that it was in the works. So
yeah.
I think that it's got to the point where they just need to get something out there and start recouping some of that investment that they've made in it, really.
Yeah.
Everyone seems excited about it, though. I don't want to be, I don't want to rain on anyone's parade with it, but I just don't know, like, the art style I can't. There's scenes and things that happen in Final Fantasy VII, like the cross-dressing mission with Cloud.
Oh yeah,
You know.
yeah. I can't imagine that in this.
I can't imagine that in that art style.
It just wouldn't. It's far too serious for that, isn't it?
Yeah. Like everyone's really sort of serious. Barrett looks really serious.
Yeah, and it's such a world away from those really kind of quite charmingly basic kind of in-game character models, you know.
Yeah. And there's some really risque scenes at the same part of the game where you have to get Cloud to cross dress.
Yeah.
There's a like a nightclub called the Honeybee Inn, and there's like he has like a communal bath with a bunch of muscle men.
Oh yeah.
And there's all these, and I can't imagine that happening with his art style.
I know. Yes, you're right. Yeah, maybe they'll just cut it out.
That's what I mean.
Or change it.
Or
I mean,
change
they might.
it, or.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are daft little things that make they're just charming parts of the game. It's part of the game's character, and I don't think you can excise these parts of the game because they don't. I don't know. They might make it work, but I remain skeptical.
Yeah, and also if they're going to cut that out, you kind of think, well, they'd cut one thing out, they could cut other things out, add other stuff in. Before you know it, it becomes a completely different game.
It's going to be a completely different
so
game.
So it's a fine line to walk when you get to that kind of thing.
Yeah. And I don't think we've seen any character models of Cat Sith.
No, I haven't.
Or
doesn't he come? He comes a bit later though, doesn't he?
He does come a bit later. Yeah.
So they're probably not going to show that just yet. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah. I mean, basically, we've only seen like the Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, and Barrett.
A bit of Sephiroth, I thought we saw.
Oh yeah, a little bit of Sephiroth. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, keep an eye on it.
It's March, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
They come out next year, so not too far away to find out unless it gets late.
No, I'm sure a lot more will come out between now and then that will give us a clearer I really don't want to be too negative about it. It's just like I said, it's just little reservations I have.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Well, was there anything else you wanted to mention?
There was. I'm trying to find a list though. Like I mentioned, the Devolver Digital. Did you watch their press conference?
I didn't. No.
It's superb. It's really good. Every year it's good. The Devolver Digital one. They did like a spoof of the Nintendo Directs this year. And it's really, it's something really special. But I wish I could find a list of the games they announced. I'm googling it now, and there's lots of links to their press conference and things like that. But I can't see an actual list of the games. But they got some really nice looking stuff coming out. We'll probably come back to that because it's going to take some time to find it. But we'll maybe talk about that on a future show, and we'll have a look. But they had some really nice sort of retro styled side scrolling stuff coming out, and they announced an actual arcade machine based on one of their titles. They're actually, I think it's like $5,000 they're selling it for, but it's actually a full light gun arcade machine that they're putting out. So
I didn't hear anything about this.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. And their whole press conference was kind of a pastiche of RoboCop, and it's I won't do it justice. You got to watch it, but
okay. I'll check that out. Yeah, that sounds interesting. Okay, cool.
We probably missed tons of stuff because tons of stuff goes on at E3. But I think it's fair to say Nintendo, given Sony's absence, are already stated ambivalence towards Google Stadia.
Yeah,
and Microsoft not really showing anything of substance. I don't think.
Not that we're interested in anyway.
Not that we can think of off the top of our heads.
No.
I think that was E3 for us.
That was E3, yeah. Right, we've got our new little segment. We don't have a name for it. We'll have to think of a name, perhaps. Yeah. But basically, I found that on Twitter lately, I keep encountering little indie games that I've never seen before, and it seems to be a great way for developers to get their game out, because they can put up a little movie about it, and it sort of catches eyes and stuff. So I've been seeing all these little games coming up recently. I try to follow them all, and it just struck me as a nice feature to sort of each month. Perhaps we could each bring one of these games that we've seen somewhere that's upcoming that isn't out yet.
Okay.
From either an indie developer or a bigger developer. But the indie ones particularly inspired me to think of this feature. So
it's a good feature. So let me just so we're clear. You're going to pick a game, I'm going to pick a game, and then we're going to sort of describe it.
Yeah, just have a very brief kind of description of what we saw, and what we like about it. Just if you've got like their Twitter handle or however you saw it, a link, some way of people tracking them down.
So
obviously the name of the game. So
how about this?
Yeah, go on.
Work with me with this one, right?
Yeah.
Indescribable. Huh?
Indescribable.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
I like it.
It's good, isn't it?
I like it.
Just made that up. That's on the fly.
On the fly, very nice. Yeah, I could tell you're excited about it.
Oh, I'm hopping about the place of excitement. Indescribable.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I'm trying.
Right. Okay. So,
yeah.
What's your pick?
Okay. So my one is a game that I spotted, I think this week, called Exception.
Okay.
And it's a 2.5D game, and it's got kind of a lot of kind of indies do this kind of graphical style. It's not necessarily one I'm a big fan of, but I'm going to bear with it because it looks like a really fun game. It's got these kind of Tron style graphics, kind of like they look like they're in a computer, sort of wireframe, kind of bright colors, black background, that kind of thing, But it's the physics of the game really struck me because it just looks like a really, really fun game to play. Really fast moving, nice sort of jumping mechanics, wall jumping. He's got a sword, he slashes things, and it just looks like it plays really, really nicely. But it's also got this thing where it kind of rotates the whole sort of environment he's in quite regularly. So it looks like he'll hit a point and then the areas in will completely rotate, or it will swivel round and could do all these kind of crazy angles. And that looks really, really nice as well. Just some nice visual effects. Just looks like a really fun kind of old school kind of fun game, I got a couple of details about it for anyone who wants to track it down. It's
is this out now or is it an upcoming?
No, it's coming out. I think I read somewhere August, but I couldn't find where I read that.
Okay.
So I might have made it up, but he says summer this year, so it should be fairly soon, I think. It's if you look up exceptiongame.com, and it's by indie dev Traxmaster. I think it's one person, and on Twitter he's at Traxmaster, and that's an X for track, so TRAX Master, and that's coming out for Steam, Switch, Xbox One, and PS4.
I'm looking at it now. Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, it looks really nice, really slick. There's a bit where he's kind of being chased by this massive kind of robot boss, and the camera is taken like kind of an odd angle. It's not just straight on, it's kind of like looking back a bit, and there's something about that looks really, really cool. One to watch, I think.
Yeah.
So that's my choice for the first ever indescribable Exception.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go and check it out.
Yeah. Okay, well, my choice is going to be Skatebird.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw this somewhere. Yes, go on.
It's a skateboarding game where you're a bird.
Is this the Tony Hawk's thing? Is it based on Tony Hawk's?
It's very similar to... It's similar in terms of gameplay to Tony Hawk's.
Yeah.
And they have said that the game will feature a tiny hawk. So...
I see what they've done there.
Yeah. It just looks completely daft, completely insane. It's on Kickstarter at the moment. It's not actually out yet.
Okay.
And in full disclosure, I've backed it on Kickstarter, so I think you're supposed to let people know stuff like that when you cover it.
Yeah.
Only backed it for, I think it's £10 or something, just enough to get a Steam copy of the game when it comes out. But
that's fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, it looks as good as it sounds.
Okay.
It's a
How long
bird on a skateboard, and you do some tricks. It's called Skatebird. It's one of the birds has got a hat on. It's great. I'm just going to read a bit from the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Skatebird, be a skateboarding bird. And yeah, oh, look at him, he's great. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, if they reach the next stretch goal, it looks like they wanted £15,000 and they've got £39,000 so far. So it's definitely going to get there.
Okay,
and there's a
great.
demo. Click here to get the demo. I missed that bit.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
great. Look, he's flapping his little wings. He's having a whale of a time. So yeah, there's going to be a pet the bird mode if they reach their next goal.
Okay.
You can sort of pet the bird. Explore a bunch of bird-sized parks with simple controls familiar to any tiny hawk. Yeah, you can put an MP3 soundtrack, custom MP3 soundtrack.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Shades of what we were talking about earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Very
if
nice.
you bail, you just get back up, because above all else, skatebirds try their best. And that's a lesson that we can all take
We
to
can
heart.
all take
Oh
away.
no, he just fell over. I don't. Oh, that's a bit sad actually. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna put it up the screen. That's actually really sad. He looks all limp. Oh, that's awful. Oh, he's got a Viking helmet. One of them. Oh, get this back. Honestly, this is amazing. Skatebird.
This sounds brilliant. Yeah.
Oh,
How long has
great.
it got the Kickstarter for?
Let's have a look. 10 days to go. 10 days. Get
10
on,
days
getting
to
on
go.
the ground floor with
Get
this
on
one,
it.
guys.
I might have a
This
look at that. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
One of them's got a traffic cone on his head. I just noticed there as well. This is best thing ever. So yeah, Skatebird. That's my pick.
I tell you what, that's as for nothing else, we should just look at trailers live like that and just describe them, because that sounded really funny.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's I think that's a successful debut for
Yeah,
for our new feature.
absolutely.
We'll put those links in the show notes, and
Yep.
we'll tweet about them to make sure you have a look at them.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
yeah, awesome. Okay,
Cool.
cool. Anything else you want to talk about before we get into our main event?
No, I don't think so. I think just going on this indie segment, I think just put a call out to, if you're listening and there's a game that's on your radar and you think we should take a look at, or if you know anyone who's developing a game or something you found on Kickstarter, let us know, because we want to put a little spotlight on anything out there that's worth a look.
We could add that as a feature. If anyone submits a game, we could do our ones and then do a single kind of listener.
Yeah,
one,
absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
If we get a few in, we could pick one that looks the best and put that out there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, that's a great idea.
I think that covers all other business, and we're ready to plough on to the game of the month.
And welcome back. This month we're talking about Sin and Punishment, Successor of the Skies, which is the UK name for this game, the European name for this game. It's also known as Sin and Punishment Star Successor in the US, and Sin and Punishment Successor of the Universe in Japan is the translated title. Quite why it needs 3 different fairly similar names, I have no idea.
No.
I mean, they all kind of say the same thing. I don't know. I always wonder when names change. Sometimes you can kind of see the reason. This just makes no sense at all, right?
It's funny. I was thinking about that earlier. I won't go too off track, but there's another game I was thinking. I was randomly thinking about earlier, and they changed the title completely from the American to the English release. I got no idea why. Don't make any sense. But
Yeah, they do it a lot.
They do.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
Yeah. Anyway, this was developed by Treasure and published by Nintendo.
Yes.
And
it's a sequel, isn't it?
It is a sequel. It's a sequel to the N64 game called Sin and Punishment. So this one came out on the Nintendo Wii in October 2009 in Japan and May 2010 in Europe and June in the US. And it was later ported to the Wii U eShop in 2015. The original version can still be picked up pretty cheaply, around about £10 box.
About 10 quid,
yeah. It's funny, despite it looks kind of like more for the Wii anyway, because the thing is, the Wii, you get all the Nintendo games which get promoted and everyone knows about them. You get loads and loads of shovelware, and then you get a sort of group of games in between that are good games made by other developers, but you don't hear so much about them. They're kind of a little bit more buried amongst all the other kind of other good games and other crap that's on the console. And I would say this kind of falls into that category.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised it was kind of relatively cheap, because it looks like it might be more expensive.
I'm really surprised that how it isn't a more expensive game, to be honest.
Yeah.
It strikes me as a sort of game that would have a kind of a cult following, and as a result, the games that tend to have cult followings tend to be like demand higher prices and things. So
I think a lot of Treasure games are quite expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Amongst them, you've got Gunstar Heroes, Dynamite Heady, Ikaruga, Guardian Heroes. I think a lot of those go for quite high prices generally, or sort of
Ikaruga and Radiant Silvergun.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't. Treasure is a company I didn't know hardly any. Well, I never even heard of before I got kind of into more collecting and playing retro games again, which is a few years ago. But they're ex-Konami stuff. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
So they make predominantly kind of shoot 'em ups like this, and more sort of 2D shoot 'em ups, I guess.
Yeah, that's what they're really known for. Is their main skill, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is a 3D rail shooter, which you don't get a lot of in general, and it's a genre that I really like. So it kind of it's be similar to sort of Star Fox, Panzer Dragoon, Rez. I'm trying to think of any others. There's not many other well-known ones, really, is there?
Not really. I mean, Rez would be the most recent one that I can think of.
Yeah. It's a shame, because it's a really, really fun. It's basically like the 3D version of the 2D shoot 'em up, really, isn't it? Where you're sort of flying forward and enemies are coming at you from facing you or the sides or wherever, and you've just got to point your gun and shoot at them, basically.
Yeah.
In this case, very literally, because you've got the Wii remote and you can shoot it straight at the screen.
Yeah, I think it's as a genre. I think that the benefit of having the on-rail shooter, you can have a lot more, not scripted, but you can have a lot more sort of spectacular events that you wouldn't, because you can kind of control where the perspective of the player and what they're going to be looking at, and you wouldn't get that kind of control if it was a free roaming game, or if it was a purely side-scrolling game. I think it allows for a little bit more of a cinematic approach.
There's a lot of drama.
Cool.
I think this game is a perfect example of that, because it does a lot of that. It kind of takes you on a roller coaster ride quite often, and there's all these enemies coming at you. It points the camera exactly where it needs to be. You're controlling a character who's sort of moving around on kind of a 2D plane on that screen, while you're sort of taken along this journey through the level, and these enemies are coming at you and that kind of thing. So that's kind of the basic setup of the game. That's the genre it belongs to. So yeah, I said it uses the Wii remote. That's kind of the default option. There's a lot of other controller options as well. I think you can use the GameCube controller if you want.
I think you can, and you can use the Wii Zapper. And,
all of them. You can alter the button layout as well, which is really, really cool. It's very customizable. So you played this game before?
Yes, a long time ago.
Oh, okay. So
I got. There's a fan translation of the original as well, which I've played a bit of that on emulation.
Yes,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I've never played the original, but I picked this one up a couple of years ago, and I did play about half of it, and I really, really liked it, but I couldn't one thing and another, and I I've always been meaning to get back to it and finish it. So this is finally my chance to do it. I actually emulated this, even though I do have the disc, because I wanted to. I got this Dolphin bar. I think the Mayflash Dolphin bar. That it's like a USB plug-in thing for the PC that allows you to use a real Wii remote with a computer.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
it works
it works pretty well. Not quite as good as a real one, and I needed to. At first I tried a regular Wii remote. It was kind of all over the place. I put in the Motion Plus one, and that was much better. So I did that, and the save states certainly helped in this game. And plus, it just looks really, really nice. You can boost the resolution, and this game happens to emulate very, very well.
Yeah, Dolphin makes really beautiful some games in Dolphin.
Yeah. I did because I got to level 4 originally in this, and I picked up where I left off on the real Wii, and I just got stuck on this boss. It was just, I decided that I wanted to play through the levels I'd already done again anyway for the purpose of this podcast. So I thought I'd start a new game on the Dolphin. And yeah, just had loads of fun really, because it's a very fun game.
It's a very fun game.
Yeah,
I said to you just before we started recording though, I haven't managed to put in as much time as I'd like with this game.
Yeah,
but
that's okay.
I had forgotten how hard it is.
It's pretty tough.
It's pretty tough.
It is a tough game, but it's fair. It can be fairly lenient as well, because it gives you a fair amount of health and pretty regular checkpoints.
Yeah, that's true.
So I found I would die a lot, but I would usually get a new checkpoint during a single play. So it's kind of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing a lot of the time. Did you find that?
Yeah, definitely.
Certainly in the earlier levels anyway, it kind of the difficulty does ramp up, and there are a lot of bosses kind of in the middle of levels and at the end of them. They can get pretty tough.
And I think it feels to me like, I mentioned earlier when we were talking about Crash Team Racing how it felt really unfair. I think it's in the same way like Ikaruga is an insanely difficult game, but it feels like the kind of game that you could master if you put enough time into it.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like it's all random and chance. It feels like a game that if you really put the time in, you could get seriously good at it and you could fly through it. And I think that's the kind of feeling I get with it. It's not just unfair. It's something that you could master.
You also get the feeling that it kind of it encourages repeat playthroughs as well, because when you end a session, it tells you it's got like a kind of an old school kind of high score leaderboard, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's quite often you'll see loads of enemies flying around, like far too many to hit, but you don't have to hit them all. You get more points the more you hit, and it's that kind of score attack thing. It's very old school in that sense that it wants you to play again to get better scores and to get better at it. And yeah, you can go back to levels that you've already completed. It saves at the checkpoint that you're at, so you don't have to do a whole level in one sitting, which is a really, really useful feature.
Really good.
Yeah. So although it's difficult, it gives you lots of help, and there's infinite lives as well. So it really wasn't a game that I felt was completely impossible. It was it kind of gives you a challenge, but it helps you a lot with it. And I think there's even harder modes and stuff as well if you really want to push yourself. Plot and the characters is kind of, it has one, but it doesn't.
It's not the reason you're playing, is it?
It's not the reason you're playing, and it doesn't. I read up on it, and I must admit a lot of it, the actual plot wasn't very clear in the game itself at all through the cutscenes. I didn't think. No. Basically, if you do want to know about it, it's you play as a pair of kids. Basically, well, they look like kids anyway. A boy, Isa, and a girl, Kachi. And Isa, who has a very weirdly manly voice. A very, very odd voice for the character that he is. He looks like a little boy, but he has a completely man's voice. It's very odd. So he finds Kachi and he wishes to protect her, even though he was sent to kill her by some bad dudes called the Nebulox, because apparently she's capable of destroying worlds or something. So they go on the run. He tries to protect her, and that's it. Basically, that's the kind of. There's more to it than that, but you probably won't care, to be fair.
No. Nebulox sounds like something off of the Mighty Boosh as well, doesn't it?
It does a bit, yeah. It does, yeah. It doesn't sound like a word to be taken seriously, does it at all?
No.
It's kind of sort of set in a dystopian kind of future of Japan, I think. I don't know how much it ties in with the story of the previous game, or if at all. You know.
I don't know either off the top of my head.
Yeah.
No.
Again, it's not the
reason
it's
you're
there,
playing,
but
it's there. It's sort of set dressing, but I mean it's the gameplay that's it's the star of the show, and it's not one of these games where you play it to find out what happens next in the story. You're playing it just because it's enjoyable to play.
Sure, yeah. You can play as either Isa or Kachi. They mostly control the same, except they have a slightly different kind of power kind of move. So I think Isa, I'm saying his name right. Yeah, Isa. He's got like a charging kind of explosive blast, doesn't he? So you can lock onto something, hold down the charge button, you'll fire an explosion, and you won't be able to use that for a certain amount of time. Yeah. Kachi has kind of a lock-on thing where she can lock onto multiple things, doing that as a sort of do a similar thing with it. I think I played Ice much more than Kachi, just because that's who I picked, and you can't actually change your character once you've picked them through the story mode. But other than this, the weapons don't really vary, and you only really have one weapon. It seems like an odd decision. I thought they might have been able to spice things up a bit there with some variety of weapons and power-ups and stuff that you could pick.
Yeah, it's a bit. I mean, most sort of shoot 'em ups have a sort of a secondary weapon or power ups and things. I don't think there's any power ups at all, is there?
No, there's coins that you get for extra points. There's health, but other than that, there isn't really. That's all you pick up.
Yeah, there's no upgrades or anything. There's no like firepower upgrades or.
No, it's very simple.
Very arcadey, really. Just
yeah. I mean, they decided to keep it simple, and to be honest, it's kind of thing once you notice it's missing, you think, oh, I wonder why they haven't done that. But it's not the kind of thing that ruins the game in any way, really, because you're so busy shooting stuff that you haven't really noticed, to be honest. It's only when you think about it. So yeah, as I said before, heavy emphasis on scores. All the enemies give you, points and stuff. Some bosses, pretty intense bosses. Of what you've played, any bosses that stood out to you?
No, they're all. It's a really weird variety of bosses. Really,
quite a variety, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you?
I just say I don't want to. Again, this is going to sound like I'm being negative. I'm not. But the art style of the characters, I found a little bit. There's a film out. I can't remember what. I don't know if it's still in the cinema. Battle Angel Alita or something like that. She's got these really massive computer-generated eyes, yeah?
Yes, I know the one you mean, yeah.
The characters remind me of that a bit.
Yeah, very kind of...
It's just like the eyes are like really oversized.
Yeah, it's kind of anime... anime-ish, isn't it?
Yeah.
But not like full-on anime, just kind of inspired by it.
It's kind of like they've tried to make a realistic-ish human, but with anime proportions, and it's just a little bit... I don't know. I just found that a bit... I was just... note I had, but sorry, carry on.
There's at one point you fight a man who can transform into 5 dolphins. Did you see that? not just one, 5 dolphins. And also later in the game you fight during the level you fight a massive saber-toothed tiger, and then you fight a giant bird, and then for the final boss of that level they transform into a kind of saber-toothed flying bird creature.
I love it.
Which I thought was brilliant.
It's brilliant. It's great. I love stuff like that.
There's a lot of crazy stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that you can only have in a video game, isn't there? Yeah. And it's just, I love it.
It would be ridiculous in a movie or a book or something, but in a video game, you just go along with it because it's brilliant,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff like that. A lot of quite dazzling special effects.
Yeah.
Sometimes a bit overkill on them. Sometimes, particularly in that water level where you kind of descend deep. There's a lot of crazy kind of stuff going on.
It's a really good-looking game for the Wii, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, very, very good. One of the best-looking Wii games I've seen. Very nice, very smooth. Runs very smooth as well.
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
When did it come out? Did we say what year?
2009 originally.
2009. I mean, it's a good-looking game for 2009. Especially on the Wii as well. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's about halfway through its life.
Yeah.
Just over.
Yeah, just over.
Yeah. Very nice looking game. Levels quite varied. You start off in a kind of ruins of a city that's kind of been buried underground, and then you got this underwater level, which is quite cool. It's kind of a winding underwater passage, and you've got these massive giant eels that are kind of bursting out of the sides to eat you. Floating ruins. That had a kind of, I don't know, how far did you get with this out of interest?
I think it only like the second or third stage. I think I can't remember.
Yeah.
I didn't get much further than that.
There actually aren't that many stages. Only about seven, I think.
7 or 8. Yeah.
I got to the 6th one. The 3rd one is kind of a floating ruins level.
Yes.
It starts off. I wasn't a big fan of the first bit where it's kind of a side-scrolling bit where there's a lot kind of you had to kind of dodge all these projectiles. So it was a bit kind of bullet hellish, that bit, but then it comes into a really nice bit where you're kind of going through these corridors, kind of getting through these doors before they close. These massive giant robot heads are bursting in at the sides, and you've got to dodge them.
We seem to keep stumbling into bullet hell style games this
do
year, don't we?
It's funny, isn't it? Completely inadvertently. When you said Undertale, I never thought that would turn out to be a kind of a bullet hell game.
No. And then sort of bullet hell sort of sections and shades of bullet hell style gameplay.
Yeah, but I mean, it shows that they can work sometimes, because I don't.
Oh yeah.
For the most part, I mean, there is a lot of stuff being thrown at you, but you tend to sort of avoid most of it. Usually in this game, so it is quite dazzling at times, but it's not particularly detrimental. It's not overkill necessarily for the most part in this game. Yeah, so after that, it's kind of you've got like a creepy kind of wood level, sort of almost like a Halloweenish kind of place. Then a desert highway stage, and then I got to a lava river. Don't know what the 7th level is because I never got there, but it's a fair amount of variety. Quite nice kind of sci-fi kind of environments.
And it is proper, just nice variety. It's not just the usual water stage, ice stage, desert stage. They do mix it up a bit, don't they?
Yeah, and I mean. Yes, and even if they do go into those kind of tropes, they kind of make it their own.
Yeah.
It feels like you're not playing just any other game by doing that. It kind of the world, and it also feels quite kind of what's the word? Kind of continuous and kind of all as part of one
cohesive
thing. Cohesive is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, you're very good with your words this evening.
I'm not going to top indescribable.
No. They're not too long, the levels. They kind of feel long if you keep dying on them, but if you know what you're doing, they probably take 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes each.
Yeah, I'd say if you want, you could get it down to about 10 or 15 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I think so, if you know what you're doing. Some slightly repetitive sound effects when you kill the bad guys.
Yeah.
Just the same 2 death noises over and over again, I think it was pretty much. But yeah, it's got its charm to it, I think.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Pretty good soundtrack. Not many memorable pieces, but the ones that you hear most often, which I would say is the menu theme and the probably the most recurring boss theme, are really good. Just it fits the game. It's quite energetic. It's good enough. It does the job.
Yeah.
It's kind of all I've got written down about the game, actually. It's one of those games, it's a bit like, it reminds me of Power Stone, where we kind of agreed it was a good game, but in terms of talking about it, it doesn't lend itself to to this podcast as well as other games do.
I thought you were going to say something else then, because I was thinking of Power Stone for a different reason.
Yeah.
In that it's one of these games that's really, really good. It's clearly got a following. But it just seems to be completely put aside.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't understand it, and but the little I did play of it again, going back to it, I will like to go through and finish it. I just kept thinking, I don't know why this hasn't. Why is there not a third one? Why is this just been? Why is it in the £10 bargain bin and not been picked up again since? No,
it got really good reviews as well, from what I saw. Get 9s and 8s and all sorts.
And usually
did really
Treasure,
well.
I mean, anything Treasure touches is gold, usually.
Yeah. Have they done much recently, Treasure? I didn't get to look at their Wikipedia page, but have they... I can't think of any recent games that they've done. Are they still going? Are they still around?
They are still around, yeah.
Okay.
Looking at this, they did Bangai-O HD Missile Fury for the Xbox 360. I've never heard of that.
I did get a demo of that, and in my period where I was downloading every demo for Xbox Live, I did pick that up. That's kind of mental, that one. I couldn't. That really was a kind of bullet hell, kind of crazy. I didn't know what the hell was going on in that, to be honest. But
and then they've done Geist Crusher and Geist Crusher God for the Nintendo 3DS. I don't know what they are. I haven't clicked on them yet, but that sounds like a bullet hell shooter to me.
That's not an Animal Crossing clone. That's
no,
for sure.
It's not. Let's see, genre action. That's. I don't think that's ever had a Western release. Looking at that, but yeah, so they are still knocking about, and they haven't put anything out in the past sort of 5 years. But I mean, the Wikipedia article's talking about them in the present tense, so I assume they're still doing something.
Okay.
But yeah, it looks like Sin and Punishment was the last mainstream Western game that they put out.
It's as I believe I said earlier, it came on the eShop for the Wii U, and I believe it was one of the first 2 Wii games that came on it. I might be wrong.
Okay.
But I think, if I remember rightly, the first 2 were this and Metroid Prime Trilogy, and they were and a good price as well, as I recall, when they first came out.
A very limited audience, so if we're being honest with the Wii U eShop.
A little bit, yeah.
That's a sad story, that one.
It's a sad story. A sad story for another time. But yeah, but it's interesting that that was one of the first ones they chose.
Yeah.
They obviously knew that there was some sort of audience there that would have got it, unless it was an emulation issue or something like that. I don't know. It was one of the only ones that they could put on there. I don't know.
I mean,
but yeah, it's some interesting kind of contradictions, I guess, in terms of its success.
Yeah, it's strange. It's just one of those games that I would think would have, a mainstream appeal.
I mean, it's not for everyone. If you've
been
listening to this, you'll know if it's for you or not, I think.
Yeah.
But compared to its kind of peers and the kind of other games that are like it, it's really good. It's one of the best ones. So yeah, if it is something you're into, go and get it. It's only a tenner, something like that.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. I mean, if you're into anything that Treasure's put out before, I think this is going to be up your street. And if you're into on-rail shooters, then I think that covers quite a wide cross section of people. There's going to be something. It's worth for £10. You could spend £10 on a lot worse things. I'd just give it a try, to be honest. Yeah,
I did really enjoy. We touched on it, but I did really enjoy the whole motion controls on it. Actually, I thought that it responded really well.
Yeah.
It's much easier than 2 sticks. I found just to sort of control both where you're going and then where you're pointing. I always find that really kind of awkward and very difficult to get my head around. This was quite intuitive. You move.
Yeah, I would say the Wiimote is the way to play it. I haven't tried it with the Zapper, but I'd imagine that would feel a bit restrictive.
No, I enjoyed it. I had it with the Zapper.
Really?
I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
It was great. Yeah, no, really, really good. I think I would find it fairly easily without it, but it was just there was something very rewarding about pointing a gun at the screen like a proper light gun game, and moving around at the same time as well. I think there is a configuration just for Zapper, but I altered the button layout of the Wii remote just to put the bomb button on the nunchuck instead of the remote, so I didn't have to reach up for it. I think that's the only change I had to make.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about dead genres, I mean, light gun games at home.
Yeah.
That's a shame that they've gone in out.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, to be honest, they like you say, the Wii had a good attempt at them with using the Zapper, and using the sensor bar and things, and there was some on PlayStation 3 using the Move controllers, but it never felt quite the same to me as using like an old school light gun on a CRT.
No, it's a shame that they were there, but not as many as there should have been. Really,
not as many. No, I tell you what. If Microsoft come out and announce that the Project Scarlett is going to have a light gun included, I'll put down a pre-order tomorrow.
Yeah, there has been. I mean, if you're not aware, I think light guns only work on CRTs. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's the problem with them now.
Yeah, I think Hyperkin is it Hyperkin? They're putting out a HD compatible light gun for the NES, so you can play Duck Hunt again.
Yeah, there is something like that. The have you seen this Polymega console?
Yes.
That's got a light. Apparently, they've announced that's got a light gun with it that will work on a TV, so you can play light gun games on a new TV from all the consoles that it supports, which is all like the CD consoles and the cartridge ones.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's an interesting looking console in general, actually. So yeah, there is a bit of a resurgence lately in light gun technology and making it work at least. Whether or not new games are going, because even now you don't see many games kind of trying to be a new light gun game, really, do you?
No, not really.
It's a shame.
I blame Guitar Hero for this, but I'd like to see a resurgence of the Daft Peripheral.
Yes.
Light guns, Donkey Konga controllers.
Yes.
Dance mats.
Oh yeah, you can't beat a Daft Peripheral.
No, that weird one with the strings on it that you could use to play virtual golf on the PlayStation 2. I can't remember what that one was called. I love them. Just the maracas, Dreamcast maracas.
Yeah, Dreamcast had a lot of them really in its short lifespan.
Yeah, it had maracas, a webcam that you could plug into it, a karaoke add-on for the
fishing line.
Fishing line. Oh, see, this is what I want. This is what the true next gen is.
Exactly.
I want boxes and boxes of plastic tat.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
To fill up your room. Yeah, it's they don't. No one takes a risk with that kind of thing anymore, do they?
No. Saying that, did you see? We're going way off topic here again.
That's right.
Did you see that weird wind-up game console?
Oh yeah, the Playdate.
Playdate, yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, isn't it?
It is. I don't know if it would be any good, but
no,
I kind of want it just because it's so bizarre.
Yes, you got to admire their spirit, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it. Cool. So, I think it's fair to say our verdict on Sin and Punishment is it's good. Go buy it.
Yeah. Which is not an unusual verdict for us.
No, it's not.
We don't tend to pick rubbish.
No, we don't. Really,
but I still think we should at one point. I think we should do like an episode where you pick a bad game or a game that has a terrible reputation. I pick one. We play them both, and I think we could fit both of them in because we probably won't play much of them.
Do you know what? That's a really good idea.
I think we should do that, and then we can compare them and see which one's the worst.
See which one's the worst, and also see if we can glean anything good from them.
Yeah.
Just to see if are they all bad?
Yeah.
Or is there what redeeming qualities, if any, there are? That's a really nice idea. Actually, we should do that.
Yeah, I think we should do that at some point. Okay, cool. We'll get that in the diary at some point.
Yeah.
So Sin and Punishment, Successor to the Skies, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
So, next game.
Yes.
It's with you, sir.
Next game. We are going to go back and revisit a developer we've gone to before, Game Freak.
Okay.
And we're going to go to the Game Boy Advance, and we're going to be playing Drill Dozer.
That is the exact game I was going to pick for my next pick.
Seriously?
Yes, that is so weird. I can't believe that. Yeah, when you said Game Freak, I thought, Game Boy Advance,
Oh. That's amazing.
Yes, we're going to do Pokemon Fire Red. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I've never played this. Because all the other picks I've done, I've played at least a little bit, but this one I wanted to come in completely fresh because I've heard a lot of good things about it.
That's the same with me.
Yeah.
Exactly
awesome. That'd be really cool then. Oh,
yeah.
Great. Okay, I've got to think of something else next time then. That's so weird.
That's weird. I guess it's good that it shows we're on the same sort of wavelength, though.
Yeah, but you could have picked like anything there. You could fit literally thousands and thousands of games there, and we both picked the same one. That is bizarre.
Ah, good. Cool.
Yeah. So it's a platformer, 2D platformer, isn't it?
It is,
and
yeah.
It had a rumble built into the cartridge, is that right?
Yes.
Do you have that, or are you going to be emulating it?
No, I'm going to have to emulate this one. It's a bit of a pricey one,
so
I think if anyone wants to play along, emulation's going to be the way to go.
I wonder if RetroArch or an emulator will make the rumble work if you've got a rumble compatible control pad.
I don't know.
We'll look into that.
worth finding out.
It's like the only game that will do it, but yeah, someone might have done it especially.
Yeah. Oh, I think Pokemon Pinball had a rumble in there as well. So it's possible that someone's coded something in there. So cool. Okay. So that's what we'll be playing for the next show.
Excellent. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Any other business before we close for the evening?
No, other than to give everyone our details. So if you want to go to our website, go to podemup.net, all one word. If you want to tweet us, we're at podemup, and you can email us podemup@gmail.com. And please do, because we really, really like to hear from you.
Yeah, we will.
Honestly, seriously, if you're a regular listener, if you've just listened to us for the first time and you like us, please give us a shout. We'd love to get some dialogue between people. We really, really would.
Yeah, just email us, just to say hi, just let us know what you think.
Literally just say hi. If you've got a book club suggestion, that'd be brilliant. Yeah. If you want to comment on anything we've done, positive or negative. Other thing people always say on podcasts is leave an iTunes review or leave a Apple Podcast review. Because
I think we're a bit late to that now, because in iTunes closing down.
I think they've got an equivalent though, and it's Apple Podcasts.
I think we missed a boat.
I'm not an Apple guy anymore. I don't know.
No, I'm not either.
But I think there's an Apple Podcast thing that apparently it's quite important to leave 5-star reviews because it kind of goes up the charts, and we get like no listeners from Apple Podcasts. So if you happen to be one of them, leave a review. That'd be brilliant. Leave a review somewhere else if you want. Just do something, dude. Please do something. For God's sake.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
We're going to get one review, and it's going to be that American guy.
Oh no!
And
idiots.
It's just going to be your podcast sucks, idiots.
Oh god, I've opened ourselves up to the Mario Maker trolls.
Honestly, I usually don't go for much multiplayer online stuff, but I poke my head out once and put something online, and what do I get?
Yeah.
Abuse.
Yeah.
Abuse.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Yeah, leave us nice comments, and we shall give you nice comments.
Yeah. Well, we'll read them out, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you want to get something read out on the podcast, tell us something, and we'll do it. Basically, without sounding like some sort of audio prostitute. Or
I was going to say, don't sound too desperate.
It does sound pretty desperate.
We're professionals,
Yeah, we are pros. Yeah.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes.
That's what they say now.
Like, comment, subscribe.
That's what the kids say.
Yeah.
Click the bell icon.
Do they say that? Do they?
They say that on YouTube. I don't know. I don't think it counts to podcast. Podcast is basically the lowest rung of the online entertainment ladder, isn't it? Everyone's
kinda, yeah. But I like it.
I like it. We're among friends here, but
yeah.
There you go. Cool. Right.
Okay. On that note. Enjoy your bottom rung, and we'll see you next time.
It doesn't get any lower, so no. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.